All right, so we are live. We are live. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well and having a blessed week. Today is hump day, and you know what that means, right? The weekend is right around the corner, and I hope you all have great plans for the weekend. I sure do. Just recently just bought some new brewing equipment, so I'm going to be brewing my favorite stout recipe, hopefully, right? So tonight, I am super ecstatic about tonight. Why? Because I get to learn with y'all. I get to take a deep dive into our mindset and how our thoughts, which, a lot of our thoughts that we have now were created when we were kids, created for many reasons that lead us to living a life of limitations, a life of parameters. Especially with everything going on in 2020, I believe it's super easy to let life run you versus you running your life. So, to drive this home and help us get unstuck and start living a life free of self limiting beliefs, here with me tonight is my good friend Heather.
Hello, I'm so
Hey,
happy to be here.
awesome, awesome. And before we even get started, I want to take the time out to, brag about Heather real quick. And I want you all like take this super serious and look at my face right now. When I say that she is a Jedi, when it comes down to mindset, she is amazing. And that comes from her background of being a certified mindset coach. She's also the author of Take the Leap, and she is the host of Mind Over Matter podcast. So that's a lot, man. And you are awesome. I just want to say I listened to all your stuff, and I'm so happy to have you here live to kind of talk to us about, mindset and self-limiting beliefs. So when it comes to that, before we even get started on that, a lot of people might be asking, what does a mindset coach do?
Sure. Well, thank you for the intro. The reason I call myself a mindset coach, honestly, I don't like the title life coach because I think that's so vague and everybody calls themselves that now with no experience and just throwing up a sign. So for me, I focus primarily on mindset, which obviously leads to limiting beliefs because our beliefs are what create our reality. Do you live in scarcity or do you live in abundance? Do you live in possibility or do you live in, woe is me? It's a choice. And so, yeah, for me, mindset coach, I, I, I have a motto and I have it on my wall and I have it in my email signature, but mindset is everything.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So you guys understand what a mindset coach is. So let's take a walk and understand how self-limiting beliefs occur and how they'll get us stuck in life, and what can we do, or what can I do and you all learn to get over them.
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely teach. I have a YouTube channel. I call them mindset lessons. And I love teaching by giving tools and techniques. But the key is don't just consume information. Don't just listen to a podcast or watch a video. Actually implement the teachings. So if you take anything away tonight, actually take notes or rewatch this video and implement what I teach you. So let's start off. A limiting belief is something that has been on repeat in your mind, on replay, that is holding you back. And a lot of times, limiting beliefs are like feeling unworthy, not enough, self doubt. We all experience these, and nobody is immune to them. I've talked to some very successful people, and a lot of their limiting beliefs come down to self doubt, which is like imposter syndrome. Who am I to do this? I
Mm.
can't do that. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too whatever your belief is. The limiting belief is something that is limiting you, keeping you in a small box and out of all of that abundance and what's possible to you. So in order to change anything, you first have to become aware. So first step that I would teach you is you have to become aware. Where are you? What is that negative story that you have on repeat? What are you, we have somewhere between 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. We're not that creative because like 90% of those are on repeat from the prior day. So imagine that if you have this limiting belief, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, who am I to do this on repeat, you're building a foundation of disbelief, doubt, uncertainty, and then ultimately that's what your results are. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, for sure. And
So
I go through that too, like if you felt that you haven't achieved something the day before, like I'm really hard on myself, and like sometimes like it leads me to saying like, you know what, maybe it's not for me, maybe I should just give up, maybe I shouldn't even try anymore. And I know that a lot of people go through that, especially the big failure word, if you didn't do it the right time or the first time. So yeah, I definitely understand that.
well, and I love the word you just used, inner critic. Can you imagine the results and the outcomes we would have if we were our biggest cheerleader instead of our biggest critic? Can you imagine what would be possible if we were, sitting in the back saying, you can do it, you're capable, you're enough, you're whatever? Can you imagine what your life would be like? The money that you would have, the relationships, the job opportunities, whatever you want. What would be possible if you actually had belief and certainty that whatever you want is yours?
That's yeah, for sure. But for some odd reason, like I used, this Monday, I just did a thing with our inner critic, and I have this, this positive person that's always like your biggest cheerleader, and on the opposite shoulder, there's that person that's, you know, you can't do this, Sam, or hey, Sam, you're putting too much on your plate. Hey, you can't do this. You're not strong enough. And it's like, how do we understand this person and kind of minimize that voice that person has? And I think a lot of that also comes into like our self-belief, because after hearing this person saying, Sam, you can't do this, you can't do this, a while you start
Yeah.
thinking like, I really can't do this.
Right. Well, if think about this. Your mind is a garden. I want you to think about your brain and literally everything up here as a garden. So whatever seeds you plant, belief or not, whatever thoughts you have, you are planting those seeds, and that is what you are going to, you sow what you reap. You reap what you sow, however that goes. But whatever seeds are planted, that's going to become your reality. So if you're constantly planting all the limiting beliefs, that's what you get. Instead, I use the phrase, you have to pull the weeds and plant new seeds. So now that first step was awareness, that's the second step. Pull the weeds, plant new seeds. But this is a lot of self-reflection. I've been in personal development literally since I was 15 years old. I'm 35. I don't mind sharing my age. So 20 plus years, I've been super into the psychology. Why do we do what we do? How do you get new results? I love manifesting. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, when you can take inventory and self-reflect on, wow, I do think that a lot, or I always sabotage when it comes to new relationships and dating because I feel unworthy. So
Hmm.
whatever stories you have, you are going to set yourself up for that kind of result. So if you ultimately feel unworthy, unlovable, whatever it is, you're going to have a hard time in a relationship because you're going to sabotage it to prove this story.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of
Okay,
sense.
so now that you pull the weeds, now clear it out. Clear out your garden, or I think of this as like building a house. You have to have a solid foundation from which to build. So
Hmm.
when you can let go of these limiting beliefs, the BS stories you have on replay, and you start planting new seeds of belief. I love affirmations. They're the tip of the iceberg though, because they're just the tip. You have to back it with feeling and emotion. So when you plant new seeds of I am capable, I am worthy, I am enough, whatever you want to say that makes you feel good, awesome. Thought is number one. Number two, now it's about literally reprogramming to let go of those. So eliminate and then you reprogram. But you have to reprogram it with feeling and emotion to back it. Because a thought, one step, but when you have feeling and emotion, now you create momentum. Now you create that feeling. Now you create that unstoppable feeling and presence to go after the thing you want.
Hmm.
Then, so that now that we have the foundation, the belief that we're creating certainty, this is literally, I think of it as you got to build your mindset muscle, just like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym one time and have amazing biceps and like feel sexy, or glutes, or whatever you're after, abs. Anybody knows who is into fitness and a healthy lifestyle or running, you have to do that consistently and have routine. And it's also about nutrition and all the things. It's not just one. That's why it's thought and emotion and feeling. You have to do this on the regular. So you have to literally, I think of it, you build the mindset muscle by constant repetition and consistency and building that belief and feeling it and believing it. And I have plenty of processes or steps on how to do that, but like those are the basics. That is the bare minimum you would need to be aware, to pull the weeds, plant new seeds, and now create belief and certainty.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, what if somebody doesn't really know that they have self-limiting beliefs and they're just kind of going through their day-to-day lives? Like, what are some things like that one to do? Like, if I really didn't know I had any self-limiting beliefs.
Well, we all have them. So here's an example. This is something I use all the time. Notice when you get triggered. So to be triggered means to get annoyed, to get frustrated. Did your boss just, did somebody throw you under the bus? Did your boss not give you applause for an accomplishment? Like when um, are you an emotional eater? What are your numbing out activities? Because what are you avoiding? You've got to be aware of the triggers.
Mm,
Once you become aware of the triggers, now you can start and this is difficult to do on your own if you've never done it. I've had my own coaches for years. I highly recommend them because you don't know what you don't know, and they can fast track your process. But yeah, it really is that self-reflection, and asking yourself questions and becoming curious. I believe curiosity is um, like high up there, and if you want change.
oh, for sure, for sure. So, what if I have a friend or a loved one who is kind of trapped in that kind of that belief, that limit, they hit that limitation, and they could do more. What could one tell somebody like to help them understand, like, hey, you are trapping yourself and you are limiting yourself?
Here's the thing: most people don't want criticism, or they don't want advice if they're not asking for it. That's the whole leading a horse to water, you can't make them drink. So most people have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired or being stuck in a rut. An alcoholic has to want change. They have to want to become sober. You can't force feed them. You can guide them. You can offer new perspective. You can support them. You can, hey, listen to this podcast I listened to, or hey, you might really like this book I just read. Like you can kind of spoon feed or leave little, you know, crumb a breadcrumb trail. You know what I mean? Like a trail. But if they don't truly want change, you're talking to a wall.
Gotcha, gotcha. Perfect, perfect. So, if anybody is interested in learning more on how they could get themselves unstuck and use these tools that you talked about that you have on your website, where can they go to find these tools to really help them out?
So I believe there's plenty of free resources out there. You can YouTube a lot of things. At my website, heatherhakes.com, I offer a free video training on how to get unstuck and create lasting change. I walk you through some of these steps. I give you tools and techniques so you can start this process on your own. But again, that's just heatherhakes.com, and it's a free video training.
That's awesome. And a lot of things that I want to say about like self-limiting beliefs. I think that we all need to kind of get curious about ourselves. Take the time to really like audit yourself. And there's a lot of goals that we want in life. There's a lot of things that we want. And majority of the reason why we're not getting those or obtaining those things is because of ourselves. Like we're always saying that we can't do this or setting these roadblocks. And definitely I know that the majority of us want to live a limitless life within the boundaries of what we physically can do and what we mentally can do, without any type of roadblocks that we mentally installed in there. And I'm so happy that Heather was able to kind of help us out. And I took a lot of tips. I'm going to rewatch this and take some notes. And yeah, so thank you very much.
Well, can we expand on that real quick? Something you just
Oh,
shared.
hey, absolutely.
Okay, so because I can't leave you hanging on that note. Something you just shared and talked about was it is so easy for people to be in a victim mindset. Life is happening to me. That happened, my boss was an ass to me. But here's what I want to help people do is turn the finger around and point it back at yourself. And no, number one, give yourself some grace. Nobody is perfect. We have bad moments. I don't believe in bad days or a bad life. You had bad moments that you're now piling. But when you can turn the finger back at yourself and take 100% responsibility for everything that has happened, even if you don't understand it, just take responsibility. Wow, did my thoughts create that outcome? Because if you come to a space of taking 100% responsibility and realizing, wow, I'm the problem, but I'm also the solution. You take your power back because now it's not outside of you. It's not conditional. It's not external. You're not waiting for this to happen and then you'll be happy. When you take 100% responsibility and take your power back, it actually, it's like an abundant feeling that, wow, I can do this. So I just want to offer that to people. Take 100% responsibility and take your power back.
Awesome. Well, gave me a lot of tips today. Really appreciate your time. And I hope everybody who's watching, if you have any questions about mindset, you can put them in the comments below. We'll both respond to them. And once again, thank you so much. Much appreciated. And I hope everyone got value out of this. And I hope people start working towards living a life free of limitations, right? All
Yes.
right, everyone have a great night. And
Thank
thank you
you.